Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do some makeup, like proper makeup. I went out the weekend for my friend Jade's birthday. I kind of said to myself before I even got ready, I was like, I'm going to do proper makeup. Not clean girl, not rushed. I did it during Romy's nap time. She slept like a dream, so I literally had tons of time to get ready and loved the way my makeup looked all night. I actually slept in it, which is terrible, but I cannot see the other side of 12 a.m. Romy's nap time's at like 12:30 in the afternoon. I came back upstairs to touch my makeup up before going out and I didn't need to do a thing because it's perfect. So we're gonna do it today. I've still got all the stuff that I use in front of me. I've done my eyebrows already. I've not done any skincare because I'm gonna do my eyes first. My situation, I want my lids to be nice and dry. When there's no skincare on the lid, there's less to move around. I'm gonna be using predominantly Vive because it's the best and I made it. I'm gonna start off with I London coffee, and I said that I'm using all Vive. See if you've got stuff at home that's gonna match this. You can just use whatever you've got. This is gonna be more about the kind of technique, so you can use whatever you like. I'm gonna use I Want and coffee first. I'm gonna literally, you're gonna love this, it's so easy. I'm gonna sketch that on all over, big sketch, right to the lash line. And I'm going to blend one eye at a time just so we've got the playtime with the eye wand. I'm using a small eyeshadow brush to kind of pick up the product from the lid, and then we're going to start to buff out those edges. And I'm keeping it quite elevated, really nice and smoked out as well. Look at that, it's so fast. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. And it's really important to buff over the lid as well because you don't want a big load of product sitting on your lid. You want to make sure it's all buffed out and smooth. Now this is quite smoky glam, but because of the kind of nature of the look, you can be quite messy. So I'm scribbling that on. I do like to do kind of pattern motions, and then I'm going to take that same brush and do the exact same thing. When I do my eyebrows, I carve them out with concealer, but it's concealer that's the same colour as my skin, so you don't get that highlighted look that we used to love. A really great tip is just use the side of your brush. Pick your brush up, and the length of the brush will do quite a lot of work for you. Now the eyes are going to look super big and like really big smokes until we do the rest of our makeup, and then they end up looking like way less dramatic. And if you feel like you need, you can get a clean brush just to soften the edges. I'm just using the concealing prime. All the brushes I'm using are Vive brushes, and you can either get them individually or you can get them in the set, the full expression. I'm going to take that same eye wand and I'm going to go underneath my eye. So I'm going to just sketch underneath. I'm not bringing it too close in here just because my eyes are quite close set. If I make this area darker, it just kind of draws them in closer. I'm using a classic eyeshadow brush just to give that a blend, and I've not gone too low down under here, not yet. I'm going to take I Want an Espresso now, and I'm going to tap that on the outer corner, and this is going to start giving us some dimension, and it's a really great base for a smoky eye that's going to last. I Want set down and really don't move, so they make for a great eye look by itself, but they make for a great base underneath eyeshadow as well. And you can see that's got a lot more depth. It's slightly cooler toned as well. And I'm just blending that into the eye wand. These layer really easily, so you're not going to have any problems with this. And I'm going to show you how to clean it up as well. You can be quite slapdash with these. So we're starting to get that depth. I'm going to take espresso and I'm going to run it in my waterline, and I'm going to tightline with that as well. And because the bullet is so big, it's really comfy to get in your waterline. You can just kind of place it up top. I've done it before where I place it in the middle and then close my eye over the bullet and scribble. But you get really nice depth, and then just so there's no harsh lines or build up of product, I'm then going to blend that lower lash line again. I'm going to go in with the Soul Shadows in Terra, and I'm predominantly going to use this shade here. I love this shade to add some depth, just go over the darker areas, and then these warmer tones just a little bit to get the edges really seamless. Works perfect. So going in with the darkest shade, and I'm going to start on that outer corner. This is actually a little bit lighter than espresso, but when you start blending it, you get the depth peeking through, and it just sets everything in place and makes everything feel really blended. I feel like I used to wear makeup like this all the time. When I worked on counter, I would do proper glam looks every day, and I loved it so much. Things changed a little bit just when I had certain things on the agenda for work, or I don't want to wear big smoky eyes like this to certain things. But when I was going out the other night and I kind of decided I was gonna do big makeup, I got so many compliments, but more importantly, I just felt great. I felt like I'd kind of flexed a muscle I hadn't flexed in ages. I was like, oh shit, Love a smoky eye. I love big makeup. I'm going to take my Modern Bronzer, this is the powder, and I'm going to go in with both shades. I'm going to pick that up with my brush. And this is actually what I used on my lid. Now this is a little bit more muted and it's actually a bit cooler toned than coffee. But because it's a bronzer and it's not an eyeshadow, the pigment load's different. I'm not getting super strong pigment. And because of the there's like a really undetectable shimmer. It's a matte bronzer, but there is a tiny bit of a kind of satin finish to it. It looks amazing on the eyes and it sets everything down brilliantly. And I'm really loading my brush up with that bronzer. And when I'm applying it, I'm not just patting it in, I'm really like working it into the eye wand and really setting that down. And I got zero creasing all night. Worked really well. You see, it's got a slightly different finish to the eyeshadow, which I quite like. I'm going to go in with these two warm shades. I'm going to mix them and I'm going to start going over the edges really lightly. Super light with my brush and hardly any eyeshadow picked up at all. And we're going to go in and we're going to blend further after foundation's on. I didn't actually use much liner in this look, but I did frame my eye with the dark brown Power Ink liner. And I just did that to add a little bit more framing to my eye, a little bit more dimension. And I just stopped when I got to the outer corner. It's really not that dark compared to the makeup, but it does do something. At this stage I'm going to add mascara. And the blend that we've got going on, I'm going to leave it just now, but I'm going to show you how to make that even more seamless. So I'm going to take my mascara, and because of the nature of the look, I'm going to really build it up. And I use a mirror underneath my chin so I can look down into it and get really close to the root of those lashes. Because if I was staring straight into a mirror and I was trying to do that, I'd get mascara all over my lid. And I'm going to take my time to really build that up. And I'm going to add a nice chunky lower lash as well. And kind of the same thing, I'm looking up into the mirror so I can get my brush right in at the root of that lash. When I'm doing looks like this, I'll get the lower lash mascara right to the root. If I'm doing something a bit fresher, it's really nice just to tickle the ends of your lower lashes with your mascara. It can make your eyes look a lot more open and fresh, like rested. The really dark black mascara with this brown smoky eye. Let's move on to skin. I'm going to use the Rhode Glazed Milk first. This is so good. I'm going to get that on my fingertips and I'm going to take my time rubbing that into my skin. The formula, this is really interesting. It's really slippy to begin with, but the more you rub it into your skin and really massage, it starts to get a bit tackier. And taking the time to make sure the product gets a chance to do that makes all the difference when you're going on top with foundation. It's just a nice hydrating layer, especially good if you've got dry skin. Next I'm going to go in with Skin Nova, obviously. You guys have sold us out of Super Skin Nova, which is so nuts. I'm really grateful. I'm also stressed. When you launch products, it's kind of like a dream to sell out, I think. But it's also so frustrating to not have it in stock for the people that want it. But it's on the way and it will be back as soon as possible. In the same vein as the Rhode Glazed Milk, I'm going to take my time to really work this into my skin. We have stock of Skin Nova, just in case you're worried about that. And the same on my forehead. Just flooding my skin with moisture. You can see that I'll go a wee bit red with the pressure and the massage, but that's just all the good stuff flowing. Beautiful. Right, I've still got my tan on. The tan that I used, and I swear by, which you already know, a lot of you already know, the U-Tan, but this is the new Ultra Dark Turbo. It is unbelievable. And I think the key to fading nicely is I moisturise like crazy and I still have baths, so it probably fades faster, but I never get that patchy stage that, you know, my skin never looks dry and it just gradually fades. I'm so obsessed with this. It's the best. And then on my face, I always use my CBD tanning water, which I collaborated with them on like 7 years ago, and it still sells out all the time. It's so good. So because I'm still a bit tanned, we're going to go with like quite a bronzy skin. Nothing new there. I'm going to use my Skin Nova Complexion Balm, and my favourite hack when I'm doing makeup and it's for more of a night out and I want a little bit more coverage maybe, I'll just add a dose of concealer into my complexion balm. So I'm going to take my Modern Radiance Concealer in the shade M1 and I'm just going to roll one doe foot. I'll do one doe foot at the moment, see how it goes. So I've got my complexion balm in the shade 230, which is also out of stock but it's coming back very soon, and concealer. I'm going to mix that on the back of my hand with my finger. The concealer will just boost the coverage slightly, but you're still going to get all that radiance and all the skincare benefits from the complexion balm. I'm going to use my beloved 117 foundation brush and I'm going to just start stippling that on. I'm going to blend out all the little dots I've applied, and then I've got some on the back of my hand still to add in the areas that I want more coverage. What's amazing about this mixture is it still looks like skin. We're getting coverage, but you can still see my little freckles poking through. It's not super full coverage. Also, the mixture of the finishes, it looks like a glowy satin skin. I love this hack with my products, but try this with whatever you've got. If you love a lighter day-to-day foundation and you've got a concealer that you use for more coverage, try mixing them and apply. It really reminds me of just artists in their paint. You know, when you mix it for different colours, you can do that with finishes too. And I'm bringing that pretty close under my eye. I'm going to go in with concealer as well. Making sure I'm getting my ears and down my neck, and that match is great. That skin looks absolutely banana. Now, a great trick, I'm going to go in with a big fluffy eyeshadow brush. This is our large eyeshadow blender. I'm going to pick up some of that cocktail in the back of my hand, and that is what we're going to use to start this blend. I'm going to tickle the edges of my eyeshadow. That creaminess is going to reactivate the products on my eyes. It's going to make the eye one slightly creamy again. Easy to move, easy to blend. And I love to do this and then I'll go back in with eyeshadow. Almost like when you apply too much blush and you want to tone it down, you go over with a foundation brush. That trick works for eyes too. And while I'm here, I'm going to go in with my bronzer and I'm just going to do my eyes now. So I'm going to take that bronzer and I'm going to start to build up that outer corner, my smoky eye. And I'm bringing that really far out, almost to my hairline. But because it's bronzer, it just has a different finish again. Now you can go back in with your eyeshadow and that really melts the eye look into the makeup. Okay, let's start adding some dimension to this face. I'm going to use my Modern Radiance Cream Bronzer in the shade Medium. And I'm going to use the same foundation brush, the 117. I'm going to start patting that on my cheeks. And I'm actually depositing the product in the middle of my cheek. So in the middle, and then patting that out. Whenever I do makeup on myself or models or clients, I always pat more than swipe. It just stops you from buffing away all that hard work or swiping off the gorgeous base you've got on underneath. So we're going to start to get some nice shape. Bring that under my chin slightly, down my neck. And I'm going to add a little bit to my forehead too. One thing I do every time I'm going out, if I want my makeup to really last and I want it to be quite impactful, I'll always set my cream bronzer with my powder. If I'm doing a really light look, sometimes just cream bronzer by itself is really nice, but building on top of that is going to add more dimension. It's going to set that cream bronzer in place and it's going to make the blend look really, really nice. Just working on top of where I've put the cream. It's really airbrushed, really gorgeous. I'm going to take my favourite brush of all time. This is the eyeshadow smudger, and I'm going to load that up with bronzer and we're going to go under that eye. I've not set my makeup in place yet, so after I've done this, I'm going to go in with a little bit more concealer. I often talk about sheer layers and less is more, and I really do believe that with concealer. Even for a night out, I'm going to just apply in that inner corner, and I am going to do a little bit here, and that's it. I don't feel like I need it in the rest of my face. I like the way it's looking. I like that I've not got too much light and dark. I think it makes it look a bit more natural, even though we've gone for a really glam look. And I'm going to take my Modern Makeup sponge, dry. I love using this sponge dry. I know it kind of defies everything that we learned, but I'm going to just pat that out. And it's adding a little bit more crispness, a little bit more brightness to that outer corner. I naturally have darker tones here, so I think that this makes a big difference for the lift. And then in my inner corner, I'm going to do the same. And it's adding a crazy amount of brightness, but we really don't have too much product chilling out there, which I like. And just to finesse this, I'm going to take another classic eyeshadow brush and I'm just going to blend any edges, and I'm going to bring that brightness slightly up here because it's an area I didn't get too deep into with my foundation brush. And then just reblending that under eye smoke into the concealer. Once I've set it on my face and I'm finished, I'll go back in with mascara just to make sure it's really black. Okay, just because it's bronzy doesn't mean we're going to skip blush. I'm back on a powder blush hype. I said it. Sunset blush in the shade Rosa. It's so perfect. And I'm going to take my blush and bronze brush and I'm going to start patting that on my cheek, keeping it super high. And I'm just patting in sheer layers again, not going crazy with the pigment from the start. It's the best. Okay, one major difference to my makeup this time round was I went quite matte with my skin, which is not my usual, but I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to take Modern Powder Perfector in the shade medium. I'm going to load up another blush and bronze brush, and I'm just going to start patting that over my skin. I'm not going to powder too heavily in the areas I want to highlight, but I never powder really the sides of my face. I usually just stick to my T-zone, but I powdered my entire head. And I'm really pushing that powder into my skin. Again, I'm not swiping, not yet. Around my mouth, under my eyes. And I'm going to sweep over my eyebrows. And then while that powder is freshly put on, I'm going to melt it into my skin and I'm going to set my makeup. Invisible, bestseller, sold out, 16-hour wear, no alcohol. Best setting spray. I'm going to do a really healthy dose. I'm not going to do too much over my eyes, so I'm going to cover up my eyes. And that is bringing the wetness back into my face, and I'm just going to let that set. I'm going to let that dry down. I need a fan, although my hands are quite big, so they act like fans. Okay, now that we're mostly dry, I'm going to add in my highlight. So this is Nova Glow Liquid Light in the shade Holy Chic. Because I've gone super bronzy, I want to stick with that theme. If you love Ballerina, which is our latest launch, you will love the other shades. I'm going to take my foundation brush to pat that out. And this works so beautifully when the skin is a little bit more matte. I mean, it works beautifully when it's glowy too, but I loved the way this looked. Look at that! I wore lashes at the weekend for the first time in ages, and I don't know why I stopped, because I felt like fire. So I've glued them up. These are the same ones that I wore at the weekend. These are the FL5 Extreme, and I cut them in half. Used to do this hack all the time. And I glued them up and then let the glue get nice and tacky. And I'm just going to sit them on, and then once they're fully dry, I'll give them a squeeze with my lash applicator. Alright, I'm going to let them chill and dry. They're not properly on yet, but that's okay. I'm going to use my Power Ink liner in brown to fill in my freckle. Alright, I'm going to take off excess foundation on my lips. I know why I love nude lips so much. It's because I have such a high colour in my natural lip. I think it distracts. So I'm going to take my Bounce Balm, which is our lip balm, which is everything that you want it to be. You get 10ml in here, which is super standard for a lip balm. I want to make a 30ml. I need one that's the size of my head. I've put the lip balm mostly in the middle because I'm going to use my Modern Lip Definer in the shade Bark just now. And I didn't touch my lip up all night, and I'm sure that this is why. I'm going to take my Modern Lip Definer in Bark and I'm going to overdraw the centre. So I'm getting a nice dark Cupid's bow. I'm going to take my Precise eyeshadow packer, but I'm going to use this to blend the lip liner before it sets. And I do this in little small sections, and I'm coming up to meet that Cupid's bow, but I'm keeping it skinny on the sides. Swap and blend. And then what you can do is you can go back in and build it up or change the shape. And I'm going to use the lip liner on its sides to get a little bit more colour onto the lip. And the lip balm's doing a lot of work here. It's making it super easy to blend. Now I'm going to go in with my lipstick. I'm going to use a classic. This is Modern Matte Lipstick in Treasure. And because of that lip balm, it's going to be creamier. So I'm just loading that colour on, and then I'm going to go back in with my lip liner just to blend. And I'm going to use my finger as well. And because the lipstick's matte, but we've got our lip balm on, but the lip balm's in really nice thick texture. It's not slippy or oily. So even though we're getting a bit more of a sheen, we're still going to get nice longevity. How guard. If you didn't want as dark a lip liner, you can use a different lip liner. I really like a kind of severe lip line. Now we've had time for the makeup to kind of be and live. You can go in and finesse any parts. For example, I'm going to go in with a tiny bit more powder. I'm going to do one last blend with the eyes. I'm going to take the Kosas Air Brow, the tinted brow gel. I'm going to go over my brows, just in case there's any powder sitting on top. I'm going to add that last coat of mascara, especially on my lower lashes since doing concealer and powder. I'm going to take a tiny bit of bronzer and I'm just going to slightly contour my nose. I really like doing this tip. It's super soft, you can't really go wrong, but just going underneath and then on top and then the sides. And I'm not using too much product at all. It's not going to mean I need to go in with concealer to correct or anything like that. And that's it. How good. Let me sort myself out. On the night I did a really slick pony, which I love with a look like this. You get that lift. But I washed my hair last night, went to bed with it wet, so this is what I'm working with. I'm not going to bother styling it. I'm going to take my hoodie off, even though I would have wore this out if I could. But there's the finished look. I actually think it's really easy. I really took my time with this today, the same way that I did over the weekend, and it is so fun. I just sat and listened to music and did the work, and I was obsessed with it. But the skin and the eyes, like everything is not moving. It is the perfect event makeup, going out makeup, and you can adapt it. Like I said, you can use any products that you've got at home. I will list everything that I've used, of course, down below, but I love it. I feel like this is a very Vive look as well. Makes my soul happy. So that is the finished look. I literally posted an Instagram carousel yesterday and I had a picture of this makeup and I saw comments asking for a tutorial and I felt very excited. Let me know if you try it. Let me know how you feel when you wear it. I feel like this is such a like femme power makeup. I felt very confident and I loved the way it looked. So I hope you liked the video. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see from me, any other style of looks, and other than that I will see you in the next one. Bye. When have you ever seen me with powder all over my face? The answer is never. There's a dog hair on it. That's perfect. That's so good. Is it working? Hello? Hello? Before. Blah, 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 blah. And I fucking love it. Can't swear. Good. Good. The bloody battery died. At this stage, I'm going to ask Miss Adams. You go in top. My god, I cannot speak today. There's a hair on my face. I thought I wasn't filming there. I was going to be sick. Blah.